Hello everyone, I am here today with a slightly different kind of video. I am just starting prep on some new travel albums, and I thought maybe seeing my process and how I put things together might be interesting for people out there that are doing something similar or maybe want to do something similar. So this is all about how do you get stuff ready? How do you prepare? If you're somebody who wants to wing it, maybe this isn't for you. I do a combination. I like to go in with a plan, but I'm okay with changing it up if that plan doesn't work. Or if I discover something else that I think, wow, that's really awesome, I want to try that, then I'll mix it up and that's fine. But I like having something to start with. So what I have here is I know that I will have 3 different 6x8 pocket page albums. This summer I took a trip to 3 different European countries. I went to Germany, Austria, and the Czech Republic. And I knew even before I went, it was very likely that there would be 3 albums. 1 for each country, and that's exactly what's going to happen because I have so many photos, and not just my photos but my friends' photos too. And as a side note, if any of you listen to the Scrap Gals podcast, I was a guest on there earlier in the year in May, and I talked about how I prep pages in advance somewhat. I put the pictures in and I put the memorabilia and that kind of stuff as much as I can before I start. I'm not going to go totally into all that here. This is just showing you the supplies I use and how I gather things together. But if you want to kind of hear the next part of the process, listen to that episode of the Scrap Gals podcast. So for my page protectors, I just keep them all in this very well-loved old plastic Ziploc-y type bag here. And I tend to separate them out a little bit. I put the inserts and photo flips in one area. These are usually inside this bag. They kind of go together. And then I have the actual page protectors together. Now, here's something that I do. I don't know that you'll find this helpful, but it's what I do, is I actually assign each style of page protector a letter, so that if I'm out somewhere and an idea comes to me, or I'm just making notes at my desk, I can say, oh, I know I have these photos, I think style A would work, and then I've just made myself a little note. Then I don't have to write out, oh, it's 2, 4x6 horizontal photos. That's too much. I can just use the letter that I've assigned. So I have all of these assigned, so I have A all the way to J. And some of these, as you can see, like this one, I'm very low. This is actually my least favorite style. I might as well show you while we're here. 2 4x4s, and then this on the side. This is what I don't like. I have a hard time using that left side. I don't know what it is. It's just an odd shape to me or something. I don't know. But I keep them. It came in a variety pack, so I keep them and I try to use them when I can. But I have all of the rest of these sorted out here, so that I can quickly find them if I need them. Then for the inserts, I'm really on this kick of liking different sizes in my album. So it's not just gonna be, the 6x8 pages, there will be inserts as well. So I have some here. These are just 4x6 vertical. So I can have 2 4x6 photos back to back, or a photo and then a 4x6 card on the other side, whatever I like. So I have those. And then these I use a lot. These are inserts that just have 2 3x4 pockets horizontally. Now, for some people that do like Project Life style stuff, this might be difficult because not a lot of cards come horizontally in the 3x4 size. But there are some, and there are lots of manufacturers that are not Project Life that make them. So I encourage you to try them if you haven't, because they can be really fun, and sometimes they're great to like put business cards in there. You can just pick a random pattern background, put the business card on there, and you're good. You've already filled that pocket. So I like these. And then in here I have a bunch of different stuff. Allie Edwards, love her stuff, has started making 3x8 inserts. And so I have a bunch of those in here as well. And I buy the variety pack, so it comes with these, which are just a full sheet, 3x8. I separate those so that I know where they are. And then the others are in here. If I can get them out of the bag. There we go. And I've separated them so I can find them. There's this one, so you can see this top pocket is smaller. And then Oops, I got a random one mixed in there. And then these just have 2 3x4. Oops. These are not totally organized the way I want. There we go. These are just 2 3x4 slots, which are perfect if you just have like 2 random photos that you don't know what to do with, how you're going to include them, or you want 1 photo and a pocket card on there. So that gives you lots of options with those. And then these are 4x6 total, but kind of an interesting configuration. 4x4 up here, and then you get 2 2x2s, so those are kind of fun. I've used almost all of those. I think that's the only one I have left. And then I have several of these that are just 2x2 squares. And let me tell you, if you've watched any of my other videos, you know 2x2 pockets are kind of the bane of my existence. I find them extremely difficult to use, so that's why I have so many left. But I'm on a mission to try to incorporate them, if possible, in these albums that I'm doing, just to mix it up visually, to use my stash, all that good stuff. And then I have only 1 of these left. This also came as part of a variety pack from Simple Stories, 2 3x3s. And you don't see that very often. And I kind of like it. It's different. And so I will continue to buy those. For now, I only have the 1 left though. The rest of what I have in here are all the photo flips. Let me move these out of the way here. So I've got several sizes. I've got 2x2. I almost never use those. They came in a variety pack. That's why I have so many left. And then I have 3x3. These are 4x4 and then 4x6. I do have, generally speaking, 3x4 flips as well, but I am out. Those are what I use the most often, and so I'm just waiting for more to arrive. One of the next things I do is I make sure that I have my notes. So this is my traveler's notebook, and this was the insert that I used for that particular trip. I was gone 10 days. And so you can see I filled the entire thing for that one, which is great. So I have lots of notes. I want to make sure I have that close at hand because there are probably things in there that are going to help me choose the papers and embellishments and all that kind of stuff that I'm going to use. So I want to make sure I have that at hand, which I do. And then, because I know this is a 6x8 album, I have also gone through and selected any 6x8 papers I already had that I thought would work with the photos that I took. And then I also took full sheets that I thought I had that would work and cut them down to be 6x8. So some of these came that way, like this one I know, I can't remember what paper pad it is, but there's a company that makes 6x8 paper pads and it came in one of those. Whereas this one was a 12x12 piece of vellum. I remember this, I actually bought it in New York when I was there because I just love the look of it. And I think it's supposed to be for holiday. But I know that I have pictures that'll work with this that have bright reds in them. And so I thought, well, you know, I'm going to put that in there. We visited lots of churches on this trip. And so I included that because I'm sure, and I know there's some yellow in one of them. So I'm sure I can use that. And just some patterns that I thought might work. And I just, subway, we rode the subway in all 3 countries, or a tram. Some type of public transportation. So I put that in there because I figured I could use that at some point for a background. So I have those. I do the same thing with smaller bits. So here are some other papers that I was able to cut down to 4x6 or just pieces that I had left over from other projects, things that I thought would work. This is a subway paper here that I had. Planes definitely are applicable here. Transportation type pieces. I think this came as one piece of paper and I cut them apart thinking that it might work. And I think this is supposed to be more for New York, but really, you know, it could work in lots of the different cities. Now that does look like New York. But anyway, I have all of these things, other little pieces, and so I keep them all together as paper options. For any of you who have listened to the Scrap Gals and you know that my travel episode was on there and you listened to it, you know that when I travel, especially on a longer trip, I save all my memorabilia stuff in Ziploc bags and I date them so that at the end of those days I can just drop stuff in there and everything is together. So this is an example of what I did. So it shows you the date, and I was in Prague. at this time. So I have all these lovely things that I picked up from when I was in Prague. So I want to make sure that I have all of those at the ready as well. So I have them organized, ready to go by date of the trip. So when I want to work in memorabilia, I have it. I have it ready to go. I know where it is and it's organized. So I have that. Then another thing I do is this. And I'm using Austria as an example here. If I have things that I had pre-bought before the trip even happened, which yes, I do that too, or just other things in my stash that I come across that I know will work for certain cities, certain places I was, or things I did when I was there, I put those together too. So that's why I have Vienna in here, and I have some things that are specific to Austria. So I've already cut these little pieces here that all say something about Austria, and we ate some really good food there. And so I'm hoping I can work this in. And then this made me just think of our rail journey because we went between Salzburg and Vienna via train. We did see several castles and things, and so I thought this was very, very appropriate for castle-y type things. There's very much a cafe culture in Austria, particularly in Vienna, and so I thought, okay, I might be able to make this work for some of those photos. More castles, more Austria. And then I had these that I bought prior to the trip that are specific to Vienna, so I wanted to keep those together. And then these are 2 bags that I picked up while we were there. So we visited the Belvedere almost as our very first thing that we did. So I have that. And then I have this bag as well from Schönbrunn Palace. And I don't know if I'm going to use them, but I want them in with all the other stuff just in case. What if I do want to use it and then I can't find it? That's not a good place to be. So I make sure that I keep all of these together in one place so that when I want them for Austria, I have them. Next, I'm showing you one of the last things I do. And this is a lot of pouches, I know. But they work great for how I like to organize. So if any of this works for you, fantastic. If you look at it and you go, never would I do that, that's totally fine too. To each their own. I'm just showing you what works for me. So what I have done is separated pocket cards. Since I know I'm doing pocket pages, I wanted to separate these in a manner that made sense to me. So these are all 3x4, and I have separated them by color. So in here you will see the multicolor, and then I start with red. I go according to the rainbow. So red, pink, orange, yellow, green, and then I have up to kind of this shade of blue. Then, because there are so many, yes, I have a lot of pocket cards, and these are all travel related, mind you. Then you would go into the second one, which starts with different shades of blue and goes through that: purple, brown, gray, black, black and white. There you go. So those are all organized. So if I know I need a particular color, when I'm looking at something, I can find them. This pouch houses various things because I don't need a single pouch for all of this. So here I keep my 2x2 squares and the 4x6s that are travel related or that I think could work with travel. And then 4x4s. And again, these are all in color order. That's why you see red at the top of all of them. So it just makes it easier when I'm trying to find something to have it by size, whoops, and by color. Just for me, for my sanity. It works and it makes it so much easier. This last pouch is kind of a mishmash of things. I do have some pocket cards in there, but these are things that, notice what this says. More Europe stuff. That's my note to myself. These are things in particular that are specific to Europe that I collected that I want to use. So I have some pocket cards here. I have 3x4s and 4x6. And then I have, oops, there's another piece of paper. Note to myself. I have some chipboard pieces that I thought the phrases were perfect. I have a specific pack of memorabilia type things, die cuts that I bought that I want to use. I thought this would be beautiful because there's so much gold in all the churches and buildings that we saw. And then some phrases that also have the gold so they would match there. Some chipboard that I got. I think this was from a Sister's Twist kit. And I just thought a lot of the phrases would work, and so I threw that in there. And then I have this particular paper pad, which is not 6x8, it's 6x6. So chances are I would be mounting this on a piece of 6x8, or I'll be cutting it down to fit in the pockets. But it's called Getaway, so it's perfect. It's already travel themed. So I keep those in its own pouch as well. So when I know I want something that is specific, I can reach in there and grab it all and be ready to go. So the last thing I'm going to show you is just some miscellaneous stuff. I know I have this pack of stickers that's travel themed, and so I'm trying to keep it at hand because lots of different colors, lots of different phrases in there. I could probably use all of these somewhere. They would all work because of their variety. And then I also like to print out digital elements. So I have lots of travel digital files. Say that 10 times fast. That's tough. That I can print out, cut them out, and then either add them in here or add them right to a page when I'm working. But you kind of get a sense of how everything comes together. It's a lot of stuff, you know, to manage all these pouches and all the stuff. But for me, it makes sense to keep it all together, and I keep it all in one bin so that whenever I want to work on these albums, I can just take out that whole bin and everything I need is already organized and sorted and ready to go. So I hope some little bit of what I've shown here and how I organize and prep for an album is helpful to you, and that you'll find a way to work it into your own process. Thanks for watching, everybody.